It's really a full circle moment when you think about it. For the real OGs out there, you guys know that my first video was the 2022 movies tier list. Here we are, it's been a whole year since then. And so now we have the 2023 movies tier list.
Quite a year for it.
We'll go ahead and get started on this tier list. If you haven't yet, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and go ahead and comment your favorite movie of the year and least favorite movie of the year.
And share it with your mom.
All right, man. Between the two of us, we've got about 30 movies on here
Not bad.
that either one or both of us have seen. Our first movie is going to be Megan. I thought it was pretty funny how Megan was kind of like an icon for feminism. Like, especially
Are you serious?
in the year of Barbie, it's pretty impressive. You know, Megan walked so that Barbie could run, really.
Megan's a feminist?
She kind of does this like dance number and then like kills like an executive of like the business that oversees her. I can't remember if it was like an LGBT icon or a feminism icon or both, but
For spinning and murder?
hey man, I don't make the rules. It was missing like something and I don't know what it was, but it like could have been like top tier. Like it could have been great. And I don't know what I wanted like a little bit more out of it, but at the end of the day, I still think it was pretty fun. I'd throw it at like maybe a C, but for me, like a C is a positive score. What is a C for you?
C is kind of like, I could go either way.
Yeah, so maybe I throw Megan at C. Like I think it's all right.
Okay, next up, Quantumania. Marvel's first film of the year. It was like, I went to the movie and I liked it until I thought about it. And the more I thought about like seeing that movie, I'm like, man, that was awful. Honestly, everyone like said MODOK was the reason they hated that movie. I thought he was what he had to be. He was a joke. It's a joke of a character from the first place, and it was fine in there. It was very weird, but they didn't have like any of Ant-Man's friends, and originally I think Luis was supposed to be like, I think Scott and Hope were supposed to have a kid together, and Luis was going to be babysitting it while they were trapped.
Oh, that'd have been fun.
Yeah, I know.
What a
I don't
fun
know
little
if that's
subplot.
true or not, but like that would have been fun.
Yeah.
So it was like missing a lot of the elements that everyone loved Ant-Man for, and it was the goofy three wombats, I guess, as Hank called them. Yeah, it was not good, and I wish I could say it was good, but it was not good. It's probably the worst thing I've ever seen Marvel produce.
Yeah, I think it is my least favorite Marvel movie that's come out, and I didn't expect it to be. So I think
Right.
that contributes is that it's more of like a disappointment, I guess.
I was expecting a lot from
yeah,
it, but
yeah.
when you're trying to build an entire franchise around like a terrifying villain, yet every single person survives and he's taken down by ants.
You're fighting an uphill battle.
Although, given recent events, it kind of helped them out to make something that can be swept under the rug.
I know. Yeah, at the end of the day, I'm with you. I could go E or F, really.
I'm going to give it an E just because of the redeemable factors of I don't say the graphics were as bad as everyone else, and Jonathan Majors as his last triumph.
At least in the MCU, it seems like. But yeah, I'm fine with E. Next up is Cocaine Bear. This movie sucks, man. This movie sucks so much. It's so bad. It's the most... I don't even know where to begin. Like, the story is so incoherent. Like, I don't even feel like I don't even know, like, if I'm watching, like,
Does
a
it
movie.
make you feel like you're on cocaine?
Like, I nearly fell asleep through it. I would have needed cocaine to, like, probably enjoy the movie more. But...
So not your favorite biopic?
No, dude, this movie's
Or
so
documentary.
bad. None of the characters are interesting in any regard. It's so not entertaining. And it's like, it's Cocaine Bear. It should be really entertaining. I just feel like this was a movie that didn't need to happen, really.
It's funny that it did.
It is funny that it did. It's just unfortunate that it sucked, and it was out at the same time as Ant-Man, so it was just like bad
Not a great-
movies. Dude, and we're not that far from the events of the story, you know?
So where do you put this? Above or below Ant-Man?
Oh, I'm putting it F, dude.
Yeah.
It's easy F for me. This is my least favorite movie of the year, I think. That I
Wow.
can, at least that I can think of. Maybe there will be another one on here, but I think Cocaine Bear was my least favorite. So,
So now for the best transition in history, Jesus Revolution. I actually like this movie.
Yeah?
And like, I have a bias, of course, like growing up Christian. And it's super cool because we know about the hippie movement, but there was a huge Jesus Revolution right after that. Kelsey Grammer was in it. The person who plays Jesus in The Chosen was also in it as a hippie. That was really weird.
That's funny,
It was
yeah.
really weird. He plays a really unique character that like I've never seen portrayed. Jesus' actor, Jonathan Rumi from The Chosen, his character, I don't remember his name, but he's a hippie who is trying to start this movement, but then he's always had a pretty good gift of prophecy, and like the Holy Spirit leads him to help people, and it's like changed people's lives, but then he starts to depend on it as his own gift and starts going over the rails with it. And it was just really interesting to see someone blessed take advantage of the blessing, see that they messed up, and kind of give up. And that like caused a big conflict in the film. I'm willing to give this movie a B.
Jesus Revolution is a B.
Another great transition here.
Yeah, we got John Wick 4. You know, you kind of go into a John Wick movie expecting a ton of action. Just a ton of action. I think it is a nice kind of close to the John Wick story, but still leaves some options open for maybe some future spin-offs.
It's getting a spin-off with Ana de Armas, I think.
I'll be seeing that for sure. I think this was, I don't know if it was my favorite John Wick movie or if the third one was my favorite, but it basically starts right after the third one ends. So it's like a pretty perfect like continuation of it.
Is it just called John Wick 4, or does it like have a subtitle?
John Wick Chapter 4, I think. I think it's a nice close with story. I think the fight scenes are really cool, especially the one overhead shot is pretty awesome. For me, I'd say John Wick 4 would probably be an A. Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves. This was a pretty solid one. I didn't see this one when it came out. I actually watched it on a long flight. I think this movie was great. I think for a lot of people, it was sort of a pleasant surprise a little bit in terms of like, you know, they kind of enjoyed it more than they expected, and I was kind of in the same boat. For me, this movie seemed like one where the actors were just having a good time filming it. It wasn't anything, you know, wasn't anything too serious. Like a lot of the scenes were pretty funny. I thought the story was fine. Like I don't think it was a movie it's not trying to be some like super insanely good movie. It was just like a fun, entertaining movie. I'd probably go B with it, I'd say.
All right. I thought Ant-Man was my least favorite film of the year, and then Adam Sandler dropped Murder Mystery 2. So bad. The first one had like this element of charm to it, and it just added nothing but Mark Strong, because every single failing franchise needs to add Mark Strong before it completely plummets. Shazam. And then
solid list.
It was so bad. Like all I remember is like a parachute fight on the Eiffel Tower. Like there were some funny gags that I would watch one or two scenes again. I couldn't even tell you enough of what happened, but it was a bad movie. But like I'm stubborn, so I watched the whole thing and it just never got better.
Yeah, I only saw the first one and I didn't think it was that good. So if it's
oh, it plummeted.
Yeah,
plummeted. Yeah, F. No questions asked.
All right, next up, we saw this one together.
Yes.
The Mario movie.
Love this movie.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on this one, man?
Well, I grew up on Mario. Like I went down the list with my brother and I've played like almost, I think I played all the side scrollers and all the 3D ones. Like there's a bunch of spin-offs that I haven't seen, but I've played like all of that. So they used over 200 songs from the games for this film. And the first game I ever played was Donkey Kong 64. Loved that game. It's very much a collectathon, but I really enjoyed it. And it starts out with this cheesy rap of all the characters, and they used that. Apparently, Seth Rogen asked for it specifically to be put in the movie.
Nice.
Cast was wild. Chris Pratt worked. It was fine with me. They kept the accent in for like a trailer and stuff, and he worked. He's a good voice actor. There's so much Chris Pratt hate, but it worked. It was okay, and I enjoyed it. Charlie Day as Luigi was perfect. I hope that Peaches gets nominated for original song. I think it could be.
I think what I like about this movie a lot is that they really like set a very solid foundation for like
everything.
They have infinite possibilities.
They just
at this
pitched
point.
Super Smash Bros. Cinematic Universe. They don't have rights to all of them, but they're trying to pitch collaboration for Detective Pikachu, Ryan Reynolds too.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Which very underrated movie. I enjoyed that movie.
I like Detective Pikachu too.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
So it just did so many things right. Was the plot very coherent? The timing was weird, but like no one left that movie upset.
Yeah, I think the plot is like pretty, I guess, it's pretty basic. It's not anything too crazy because you got to think about it. Like they're trying to make a movie for like 6-year-olds and like 36-year-olds, so it's
like,
a wide range.
It's the games never what. It was like Princess Peach was kidnapped and go get Bowser. That was it. That was the plot. So,
yeah. Well, no, I'm saying like I think they took a good approach with it.
Yeah.
And I think there seems like there was a lot of love put into the movie. I think the animation really is awesome.
Peak. So I gotta give high B or A.
I would say more B just solely because Like the plot isn't anything crazy, but
Right.
I think it has potential for movies that could land in the top tier, like to set up
Yeah.
later on.
Yeah.
I think this is really just the beginning, honestly.
Yeah.
So I'll
Alright.
go B. Next up is Air. Air is with Matt Damon and Ben
Right.
Affleck, which, you know, they've done a bunch of movies together, and they tend to not really miss whenever they're on screen together.
Mm-hmm.
It focuses on Nike, kind of early Nike, when they were still, you know, pretty behind brands like Adidas. It basically shows kind of the risks that they took in creating a shoe for Michael Jordan. And it didn't even really show Michael Jordan. It actually doesn't show his face the entire time. It's just a guy.
This family, right?
Yeah, it focuses more on his family, especially his mom.
Oh, is that Viola?
Yes.
Big year for her.
And so I thought it was a very informative, entertaining movie. Didn't really overstay its welcome. And I think it told the story really well. I liked Ben Affleck as Phil Knight. That was fun. Air, I would probably go A. I would
Okay.
say. I think it's like honestly, I think it's definitely one of the best like historical movies this year. Guy Ritchie's The Covenant with Jake Gyllenhaal. I think this was another really interesting movie. It is about the war in Afghanistan, and it basically follows Jake Gyllenhaal and his interpreter as both of them are stranded in Taliban territory, and they have to escape.
That's interesting.
It isn't a true story necessarily, but it is a true story for soldiers and interpreters back during that war. And so I thought this was a really interesting movie to watch. Pretty straightforward. I'd give it like an A or a B. I'd say probably a B. Ghosted, man. This movie was pretty bad, obviously, but I feel like Chris Evans and Anna de Armas like really do not have any sort of chemistry on
They
screen.
did in Knives Out.
They did. They just don't in this movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Like they really don't. I don't know. It's just not I mean, I think you kind of know going into it it's not going to be like a great movie. It wasn't as entertaining as I would have liked it to be. Obviously, the scene with all the cameos was really funny. It's kind of the only redeeming part of it. I mean, you're watching it and you're like, what is happening right now? Like, how are Bucky, Sam, and they're all like trying to kill each other, and it's just really funny. At the end of the day, it was pretty bad. I gotta say I enjoyed it more than Cocaine Bear, though. So I'm gonna I'm throwing Ghosted at E.
Are you there, Margaret?
It's me, God. This was a great movie, man. Rachel McAdams gives a very good performance. I hope she's nominated for an Oscar or two. I think she really kind of holds the movie together really well. Even though she's not technically the main character, she's more of like a supporting actress. I think she really is kind of the glue that makes the movie work really well. But I think it was a good movie that I think a lot of people can relate to just growing up in general. It captures sort of the coming of age feel really well, and it was a pretty touching story. It had a lot of really like comedic moments too. I'd say this movie for me is probably another solid B.
We got the MCU's second title, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And I think this film was an absolute triumph. It just was absolutely incredible. They take these silly concepts and make you emotional and connected to, CGI. Literal CGI. What's interesting is this didn't make me think, oh my goodness, Marvel is back. It made me look forward to DC, actually.
Yeah.
With James Gunn.
James Gunn.
Did you hear the theory that this movie is about James Gunn?
That's interesting. I didn't hear that.
So, you guys remember, he got canceled back after Volume 2.
Yeah.
And, like, completely fired from the franchise. But then all the Guardians came together, like the actors, to say, hey, he's one of the best people we've ever met. This treatment is unfair. So then with Marvel, like, they brought him back, and then after everything started failing because they lost the kind of formula James Gunn created, James Gunn came back to remake his IP, do what he did best.
Mm-hmm.
And because Guardians of the Galaxy 1 really set the tone for the rest of the Infinity Saga. Like, it set the basis for what everything was going to feel like.
True.
So in this movie, and I'm going to go ahead and spoil it, Rocket was created by someone and then let loose, but then that person realizes, hey, I need your brain. I need the way that you think, and it takes the entire Guardians to save him. So really, like, the theory is that James Gunn kind of took this opportunity to slap Disney in the face and then leave to DCU as their new film CEO.
If he did actually plan that,
That's
it's
pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
James Gunn, if you're watching this, comment below if that's true or not.
Oh, he
Confirm.
might. You posted on, like, Threads or something. He comments on everything.
That's true. I have
It's
seen
awesome.
that.
Yeah.
I have seen that. Yeah, man, I agree with pretty much everything you said. I think This movie, it really feels like classic Marvel.
Feels like a movie.
It really feels like a movie.
And it tied together everyone's arcs.
Yeah, it really
so
does.
well.
Yeah. Are you thinking S for it?
It's S or the highest A.
Yeah, I feel like it's like A plus. I don't know if it's S yet. I feel like maybe we could throw it A.
Like, it is the best superhero film. Fight me. It is the best superhero film this year.
Okay. We'll get to Spider-Verse.
So you want to put it A to begin with?
We can put it at strong A,
Yeah.
but it's subject to be moved.
Okay.
Next up is Fast 10, baby. Let's go. I love Fast 10, man. This movie's so funny. It sucks. Like it's not like a good movie, but I was cracking up the entire time I saw this movie. Vin Diesel was frustrated with Jason Momoa with this movie because
He's frustrated with everyone.
he is, but it's because Jason Momoa was too comedic. And Vin Diesel didn't like that it took away from the serious tone of the Fast
Supposed to be about
franchise.
family.
Let's remember that in Fast 9, Ludacris goes to space. All right, so
Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding. So I think Vin Diesel needs to relax a little bit and
Isn't
just
this
have.
a series about drag racing?
It used to be. That's what I'm saying. It's strayed a lot from the source material, and now it's just a big meme. And I think Vin Diesel, he's got to be self-aware with how like silly the franchise has become. I love what Jason Momoa did with his character in this movie. The best way I can describe him is that he's like a zesty Joker. So, dude, it's so good. Me and my buddy were just dying laughing the whole time whenever he would come on screen because he's just so unhinged and like unpredictable in the movie. So if you just turn your brain off, I think it's honestly like a really fun movie. You need kind of some lore from like the previous. You really need to see the whole Fast franchise to like fully appreciate like how dumb it is. But I love it, man. At the end of the day, like
It's 11 movies now.
it's like a guilty pleasure for me, honestly. I'm willing to throw Fast 10 in C tier, honestly.
Whatever. I don't have an opinion.
I mean, I'm good with C tier, bro. It's so funny.
The Little Mermaid. The worst thing about this movie was easily the marketing, because there was a huge controversy. Like, I know people get upset about when there's a race change of a very established character, especially the redheads. You've noticed that? Wally West, Jimmy Olsen, Starfire. I know there's a bunch more, but the movie takes place in the Caribbean, and Prince Eric is the one who like landed there in a crash and was adopted by the royal family. That's the plot. Also, sorry, I shook the camera. King Triton, not Poseidon, Triton, all of his daughters are from like different, I believe, the Seven Seas.
Yeah.
So they represent. There's so many reasons for like the change of race, and
Yeah.
it made sense in the movie. And like if they just showed we're in Jamaica, we're in the Caribbean.
Right.
Okay, that wasn't in any of the trailers. It made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And it was fun. People complained about Awkwafina in that movie as well, which she's another actress that gets so much hate. Like she's fine. Have
Yeah.
you seen Scuttle in the first movie? Like it's the same character. It's just female now, and like an accurate bird, like not a pelican. I think Ursula needed a lot more time. Melissa McCarthy was fantastic. I enjoyed the movie. They added a song. I don't remember whose it was, but it was really good. I can give it a high C or low B because like it again, it's a remake.
Yeah.
I like remakes more than the average person, but also it wasn't necessary, but I liked it. So I think a low B is fine for me.
I'm thinking closer to C, just looking at kind of what we have here. Personally, I don't put Little Mermaid on the same tier as like The Covenant and Are You There, God? But maybe I should have placed those higher.
I just don't want to put it with Fast X. That's what I don't want.
Hey, man.
Okay, let's put it high C.
High C?
High C.
That seems
like the
fair to
fruit
me.
punch. All right, here comes the point of contention.
I know. I love this movie, dude. Why do you not like it? We saw this one together,
I don't
too.
dislike this movie. I just don't think it's S tier. Here, you can talk about the things it did good, because it did a lot of things good.
I mean, obviously the animation, the art style.
Beautiful.
Voice acting, character development. The character growth from the beginning of the first movie to now is like seamless so far. It works so well. And I love what they did with Spot's character. I thought the music was a highlight. My argument against you, because I know you don't like that the movie ends on a cliffhanger and that it's just like a setup for the next movie. If the only part of the movie that you don't like is that it ended, that means it's a pretty good movie.
No, I do disagree with that because I despise part ones, and that's something I've always had. I don't like part ones. Hunger Games did not need to be divided into 2 Mockingjay films. Yes, there's a lot of story, but I don't like part 1s. And you say, oh, well, Infinity War and Endgame. That was not the same situation, because Infinity War had its story of Thanos trying to get the gauntlet, and it closed with a cliffhanger, but a loss. And then Endgame was about how do we recover. Everything with this, they had Spot start to become a dangerous villain, and then he goes and visits the Spider-Verse and is like, oh no, I'm in danger. End. And it's just you didn't close out any story.
Yeah.
You got to the second or even first act of a story. That's my only complaint. I agree with everything you said. The animation, I loved the addition of Spider-Punk and India. What was the Manhattan? Mumbattan.
Yeah.
I loved it. And
Yeah.
I believe they asked them to bring parts of their own culture to the story. I just didn't like how it was a part 1, because it ended yes, it was a cliffhanger, same as Infinity War, but Infinity War's story ended and this story began.
I understand. It ends more like a TV episode than a show, than a movie.
It was frustrating, but every part of the movie I appreciated as half of a movie, and that's why I give it an A. I still give it an A.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not an S tier for me, and it is below Guardians 3 for me.
Okay. How about we compromise?
Okay.
We move up Guardians to S tier for you. I move up Spider-Verse to S tier for me.
I think I can compromise with that, as
right.
long as Guardians is ahead.
Okay. Sure.
I do think Spider-Verse is better than the 2 movies I haven't seen.
Yeah, I think Spider-Verse clears John Wick 4 and Air. So that's why I have to put it as.
Okay.
Next up, we've got another superhero
Multiverse.
movie.
Yep.
Multiverse movie.
The Flash. This was my guilty pleasure. Horrible film. It made no sense. It was ridiculous, and there were way too many things put in Ezra Miller's mouth. There's poorly CGI babies falling from an exploding building, and then he runs to try and catch them and then goes past it to a vending machine to eat a hot dog or something. Puts a baby in a microwave. It's ridiculous. And the babies are horrifying, by the way. They underused both Supergirl and Michael Keaton's Batman just as casualties of storytelling, if that makes sense. The CGI, they said, oh, it was intentionally bad. Then make it obviously intentionally bad, because it was not obvious that it was intended for bad, and I also don't think it was. They built up a really intriguing villain. He showed up and died. Literally, he would stab you and I was like, this was so cool. They were building up a really cool character, and he fell apart. And you know what? Let's put it on D. If you ask me, I would say don't watch.
Yeah, I think D is appropriate, and I think also it's the one empty tier. F tier, we have Cocaine Bear, Murder Mystery 2. E tier, we have Ant-Man, Quantumania, and Ghosted. D tier, we have The Flash. C tier, we've got Megan, Fast 10, Little Mermaid. B tier, we have Jesus Revolution, Dungeons & Dragons, Mario, The Covenant, and Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
It's so weird to have Jesus on this list.
But hey, at least Jesus and God are in the same tier.
Yeah.
How about that? A tier, we've got John Wick 4, Air. S tier, we've got Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Spider-Verse.
Where's the rest? Yeah, where's the rest?